Hello viewers, this is RANJI and today in my video I'm going to discuss regarding the 10 tips for study as well as exams for students, and you can inculcate in your daily routine and can see the vital effects. And to get started, the very first tip is that you must go to college regularly. Now this may find some absurd to many of you. It's not absurd, but it's actually the fact that for appearing for any of the exams you need at least 75%. So you need to go to college, and it's not like you have to sit the entire day sitting at the college wasting your time for self-study and for other activities, but you may plan accordingly and sit for at least 75% of any of the lectures, and that's enough for any of the student to get sufficient time and for time for other activities, other curricular activities, and for other productive things that you do in your day-to-day life. So the second tip that I'm going to tell you that you must attend the practical sessions of your college. Now this practical sessions are most important because the things which you learn in the theory are reflected at the practicals, and some may skip this practical sessions of 2 to 3 hours, which is completely wrong. You have to attend this practical sessions. You have to get to know what the things are and how it works. And in many of the cases I have seen students muggling up in practical examinations that they are not able to do, or they are not able to configure the setup or something like that. So to avoid these kind of issues, you must always attend your practical sessions, and this will not only give you the attendance, but this will also give an impression to your teacher that you are attending the practical sessions, you are taking it seriously, and so this creates an impression overall. Next, third tip is that you don't buy any kind of expensive or costlier textbooks or some other reference books from the market. Means nowadays many kinds of markets, XYZ books are available from these markets, but my advice is not to waste your money in purchasing this kind of books, because many of these books have the content directly copied from this standard reference as well as textbooks. Now if you want to purchase these books, you can either Google it, or you can download a PDF copy of the same book and you can read it, and this becomes not much bulkier. It will not make your bags go bean bag or something like that, but it will become handy for you for carrying on your smartphones or laptops wherever you go. And my best practice, or what I practice, is that I usually study from this reference books from PDF copies, and the content which I understand, I make it a copy of those in a small register. And while I'm making this notes, I keep in mind that I always use colored pens. As you can see in my videos also, I make use of 4 different colors, red, green, blue and black. So while I'm making notes also, I practice by using these colors. But in examinations you should not use these colors, because colors have very vital role in memorizing the things, because human beings tend to remember this colors. So there is a color code which each can memorize and keep in their back of the head. So you should make your own notes as easily as possible, because these notes you can carry anywhere, anytime, any place, and for examinations also it becomes more easy. And also textbooks, it may create inconsistencies, or the pages may be misprint, or the diagrams may be misleading or something like that, because the content in these textbooks are not up to the point, or they may wrongly guide you for writing your exams, and ultimately you end up scoring less marks or complain about the publishers. So to avoid these kind of things, you can make, or you should make, your own notes while preparing for the exams. Tip number 4 is that you must read out the things which you actually write it down. means this makes it hear to your ears that what you actually read. Means like if some particular paragraph or certain concept is there, then I have seen many students that they actually read in, like they memorize it by just not saying something, or they just run their eyes through those paragraphs and they just, like, I don't know, they either mug up or something like that. But actually you have to read it loudly so that your ears can hear it, and so it will register to your brain and you can remember it for a much more longer period of time. Because the human tendency is that whatever we hear, we tend to remember it for a more period of time. So while studying also, you should inculcate this habit that while you study in your room or somewhere else, you have to read it loudly, so that it's not loudly that some other person gets disturbed, but you have to read it so that you can hear it actually. So this will register the things in your mind and you can remember for much more period of time. Tip number 5 is that you have to draw good diagrams as well as contentful description. You have to write it in your papers. So this actually will what will do is that the description, many of the people just like paragraphs in their papers, and I've seen many people doing this, like they just take the supplements and start filling this papers and just like blah blah blah, some rubbish are there, and the examiner also will not read this kind of things. Instead, what you should do is that you have to make certain list as well as the points. You can use the Roman numerals or 1 2 3 technique, numbering technique you can use in this, and this will actually help you as well as the examiner to read what content you have written. And it should be like in a sequence, means how, if some registers are there, means how the pin configuration is there, how the flow works, that you have to mention in points. So these points will also help the examiner to track the idea of the student. And also, most importantly, you have to draw the diagrams. Now from where you have to draw the diagrams? These diagrams you can draw from the reference book. Now this is how you will actually use the reference books as well as textbooks. Obviously you will not read and write the contents which are actually there in the reference book to your papers, and that's not going to happen anyhow. But the thing you can do is that you can take the diagrams, illustrations of each and every concept. You can practice it, practice diagrams as many as you can, and reflect those diagrams in your papers. Means examiner will get to know that this diagrams stands for some, it has some weightage, it has got some particular weightage more than the theory what this student writes. So the diagrams you have to draw it perfectly anyhow, but very less description are read by any of the people. Means description, nobody likes it to read the description. Also in newspapers also nobody reads the entire newspaper, but a list of bullets or a small article they may read. So you have to inculcate those habits in your papers, like listing your idea or listing the answers in points. Now tip number 6 is that you have to make use of Google. Now this may find something unusual, that why I should use Google, because when you tend to read some books or some reference books or some other textbook, you may come across multiple words or keywords that you may not understand. It may be a jargon or some technical or some advanced term. So what you do is to ensure that you have your laptop or smartphone in front of you. Just open one tab, that is google.com. You can enter the keyword which you have encountered while reading, and you have to see what meaning does it stands for. And this meaning you have to make in your own sentence, and you will have to implement in somewhere else while you are speaking or while you are writing some papers or something like that. Now the benefit of this is that this will not only improve your English as well as it will give you an ample of vocabulary to work in. So you can also make a register of these meanings as well as the words that you have searched for, or a soft copy in your notepad also. You can keep a track of this, which all words I have encountered while reading, or from newspapers also. You can get many of the bunch of words, so you can easily type that keyword in Google and get the meaning, and make sure that you make in sentence those keywords. The next tip is that you have to plan and write accordingly for your papers in an examination, because time management is most important while writing the papers. Example, we have an 80 marks paper, and that paper lasts for 3 hours, and it may contain 4 or 3 questions to attempt. So in that, the very first question is compulsory, and if there are 4 questions each of 5 marks, then you need to plan and write those answers accordingly. Now in this, you have to keep in mind that this 4 questions you have to target within 30 minutes. Means 30 minutes is essential for each of this. Means for first question, answer the following, and you will have 4 more questions in that. So each of the questions you will devote 5 to 6 minutes in writing, not more than that. And make sure that in the top of the paper there is written that figures to the right indicates full marks. So it's not just like you draw diagrams but not writing anything, but only relevant diagrams are will be carrying a good amount of marks. So you need to keep in mind that you have to draw some diagrams as well as list out some 10 to 15 points while writing. For supporting your answer, you can also include your diagrams, and you have to label those diagrams neatly. What does it stands for, what the components are, and so this is one important tip. Tip number 8 is don't ever read the entire question paper at a glance. Now this may shock many of the peoples, like they may have prepared for only a less amount from their syllabus, and while they are going through the entire paper, they may encounter some questions which they might not have studied, or which they may opted out while studying. So this may cause panic, and it will also cause stress while writing the answer, and more importantly, it will waste your 10 to 15 minutes of your time that you are allotted to your first question. So it also takes a much amount of time to kick back what you have means you have to recover it. Now it takes a much amount of time, so by the time you do this, you will run out of time, and you will also find like your paper is not getting over, and it may leave the entire day worrying about the paper. So you must not read the entire paper at a glance. Obviously you can read it like that, all the text are all printed accordingly, but you just have to focus on what you are writing first. Means if first is over, then it is all done, then second, then third, then fourth, and then entire paper is done. So this is how you read the question papers. So a question paper is not meant that you grab this copy and you suddenly read all the particular questions and you will feel the relief. That's not the case. I basically do practicing all the individual questions of one set. Then if that is done, then move on to the second. And if in third question, if some other problem, or you may find some unusual things in that which you have not studied, then you can skip it and you can plan it accordingly. And this is how you do the time management. Next is that you have to clear your doubts. You have to clear your doubts from your teachers, from internet, from tutorials. There are many learning sites available online. Also you can consult your teachers as well while your vacations are there. So you can actually get to know that what mistake that you are doing, and what actually the corrections that you need while preparing. Next, the final tip is that utilize your vacation that you are getting after your semester exams. Now most of the people will have to hang out or do something, like they will go for a vacation, but if there is a need that you have to, like you are foreseeing that in next semester that I will have these all subjects, and I'm finding difficulty in this particular subject, so you can actually go to some coaching classes, you can have better coaching than rather assuming yourself that you know much about this subject and then ending up like no one was ever been. So it's a good practice that you can join a coaching class, and you should not hesitate that at this age you are going to coaching classes like a small kid. There is nothing to hesitate in that. Actually you are gaining knowledge from a renowned person, so that your knowledge also increases. So these are the 10 tips for students while preparing for examinations. So hope you enjoyed this video. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. More videos are coming on the way, and there are many other videos for big data as well as for simulation modeling for 8th semester, as well as you can email me, or you can put in the comment section that for which videos you need assistance from me.